Okay, we are live.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing I want to do is I want to tweet this out real quick. This doesn't look good. All right, so camera here. And drink quietly.
What?
Drink quietly.
Does it make a noise on your side?
Yeah.
What? So picky, man.
It's not about picky. The microphone picks it up. It's very loud. All right, so we are live here. And now, so today we're working on the Pomodoro timer, right?
Yep.
Great. So we're going to continue working on the Pomodoro timer. So if anyone already joined, then welcome. You're the first here. We're just going to tweet this out real quick. So what are we gonna say? Let's crowdsource this.
Would you also share a screen when you have the chance?
Yeah, sure. Let me share a screen. There it is. Start.
Thank you.
Live stream. Fullstack. Node.js. React. Are we gonna do the Mac app today? What is it? What is it called?
Pomodori project?
No. The thing.
Electron?
Electron. All right. Right. Exactly like inside the 140 jars. Oh my god.
Wow, that is a long tweet.
Yeah, it's exactly inside of it. So, all right. Sounds looks good. Looks good. Okay, so where are we in this project? So let's start
Server side.
Tmux. No, yeah, but I mean we made some progress on the server side as well. So let's just bring this up exactly to where I want it, exactly above the camera. Great. Okay, so let's start up the server here. So we need the MongoDB, and then we need npm start, right? So MongoDB is starting up, and then the node server is starting up. Great. So what we have here, if I open up Postman, then you'll see what we have. So we already have a way to create a task, and we already have a way to get all the tasks from the server. So as you can see, we get the tasks, we have nothing, and then if we post an API task, you see like something, user ID, and then task time of 1 minute, and then I do send, get OK back, and then when I do get, I get the task, right? So everything here is working correctly, and if I do submit a few times, then when I do get, I get all of these.
Cool.
Right? And we already have the process open as well. So we already have the API that will go and
check all the
yeah, exactly. Not only check but process them.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Do you mind zooming in a little bit on the text editor? Just one notch. Yeah, that's good. Thanks.
Okay, let's hope it's not too big. Okay, let me fix that here. The alignment with the camera. All right, this looks better. Great. Okay. So where we are is, like I said, we have the process open tasks. We have the get for getting all of the tasks, and we have the post for creating a new task,
Yeah.
right? Um, so let's just put here. Okay. So, um, what do we want to do now? So we have the server side, and we have the ability to create users. We have the ability to create tasks with the user ID. So basically, on the server, there's not much more that we need to do.
Okay.
So we have the task controller here, we have the create, we have the open, and we have the process open. We still need to do a bit of cleanup that these will return a JSON object instead of just text. But nothing too crazy here. We have the task factory, which again has the get all open tasks, has the process open, and create. So all of that is working pretty well, with no hiccups and no issues whatsoever.
Mm.
And what I want to do now is I want to think about what is the next step. I mean, whether the next step we want to do is the client via the web or the client via, like, whatever, React Native, or the client via the Mac OS with Electron. Um,
Maybe you can talk about how, like on the product side, how each of the client would interact with the server or with each other, like just the bigger picture wise.
sure. So if we go back here to the whiteboard, so essentially we have the product is a few moving parts, right? So what we have here, essentially built but not 100% complete, is the server. And then we have the client, and in the client is connected to a LED.
Okay.
Okay, the LED is essentially the status of what's going on. Someone, it's so bright. Bright where? Here? Like in my room? It's the same. It's the same amount of light. Okay, so then we have the LED here, and the client essentially, whenever you start a task, so this is start, then this is on, right? And when you say stop, or essentially expire, then you need to say off. So something has to be installed on the client on your computer, right, natively to control that.
Right.
Yeah. So Twitch. So Empress Leaf, I don't know, seems brighter in your room than usual. Maybe it's my haircut, but it's exactly the same brightness here, the same lights and everything. So I don't know what's maybe it's because maybe I'm sitting today and not standing. So I don't know. The screens are, I don't know. Montreal Chris Lee, hello. Okay, this is what is this, just Japanese or Chinese or something? What is it?
This is definitely not Chinese.
So I don't know what it is.
It's Korean. Look, he's speaking Korean.
Kor-
This is Korean.
Okay, got it. Um, okay, so let's go back to the. Oh, it's Korean. Okay, great. So, if we go back to the whiteboard, then something has to control this, right? And this decision we made is a conscious decision, because there are two ways of approaching this, right? So let's talk about these ways. One is that the LED, so this is LED, will connect to the internet.
LED will connect
Right?
through the Mac app.
So no, not through the Mac app. So the LED will have connectivity in and of itself, right? And the other and this complicates things. This complicates things because you need Wi-Fi, and then there's like a lot of complexity here with the routers. And think about it: if you have 30 people in a company or 40 people, it's only 40 more devices that really have no use and no business to be on the um, on the network. And what we decided is we decided that the client, right, via like USB, will connect to the LED and then send signals, right? So you have a signal here, and essentially the signal is either high. Well, that's not how you spell high. So it's either high, and then the LED is on, or low, and then the LED is off, right?
Okay.
And the thing is that this controls the communication, right? So communication,
Got it. Got it.
right? So the communication is done through the client, and the client is already either a Mac or something, but it's already connected on your network. And you definitely don't need another device connected to the network, and you just control that USB. You just control that LED via USB, and the LED is not connected to the
Wi-Fi.
to the Wi-Fi, right?
Right.
So that was a conscious decision, and because of that conscious decision, you need a client, right? You need a client to interact with the LED, and you need some kind of a client to start and stop the tasks, right? If this was a LED that connected to the Wi-Fi, then the LED essentially once it connects to the Wi-Fi, everything is done through the LED. So you can have like three buttons. You can have like start, stop, and whatever. So
Got it.
there is only basically one device that does that. And because we don't want that, then we need to have a client and communicate with a USB.
So I know that you purchased the LED from Great Britain.
Yeah.
Can we start working on it without the device being here?
Yeah, we can definitely start working on it without the device being here, because the device is the final stage. We still have API communication and registration and whatnot. So all of this still has to happen.
Yeah.
And because that needs to happen, then we need to do that prior to working on that USB.
So what do you think? Do you think this is a good time to start working on it? It seems like the Mac client is the most interesting client.
Yeah.
The most important one, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's definitely time to go ahead and do that, because I think it's at the point where you have to do it. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started on that. So people in the chat room, I don't know how many do we have. We have about 5, I think. 1, 2, yeah. So if you have any questions, again, this is an open chat. So post your questions or feedback, and we get to those. So don't be shy. This is not just like a closed coding session. All right, and I did not even finish what I said, and then we have a question. Just a random question. I'm studying software engineering. I'm interested in cybersecurity and system administration. Is it really hard to find a job posting for recent graduate in cybersecurity? I'm not a graduate, but you get a certificate such as CCNA or RHCSA. So security is a very complicated field, and it's a very complicated field because a lot of the companies that are hiring, they treat this as a certified profession, which some just like regular quote unquote software engineer does not require any certification. So, uh, and I don't know that field enough, but I think without some sort of certification, then it will be very very hard to get hired. And again, I don't know all of the positions in that field, but some of it is like algorithmic. So you can work on the algorithmic side of some, traffic analysis software, and then you're still in cybersecurity, right? So, cybersecurity is still it's like a gray and huge. It's like a gray and huge term. So it's really hard to answer that question. But most of the places will require certification of some sort. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with Electron. So Electron, GitHub something. Let's see what we have here. So this is Electron. Great. This is Electron. So we can build cross-platform, web, blah, blah, blah. Okay, get started. So Electron. So download. So git clone. You have Electron quick start and CD, and then, okay, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so let's go to the open source and do git clone this. And here, let's go to open source, Electron quick start, and then npm install. I totally agree with you. However, some people say they are not worthy because there are so many dumps. Okay, I don't know what that means, but okay. Update. Okay, who cares? So we have a log file. npm i-g npm.
Electron quick start.
Hi, I'm a computer engineering student. I was bored while doing homework and thought to myself, why not look up some programming instead while I do math homework? That's great. Okay, so where is it? So npm install. Awesome. And now npm start. And let's see what we have here. Great. So you see it's like a Mac app. We are using Node 7.4, Chromium, Electron. Right? This is a Mac app. Look how crazy it is. It's nice.
So when you do npm start, what does it really do? It just started up?
Yeah, it's just started up. So let's see what start does. So starts just runs Electron. And Electron probably does the things. So you have, let's see, a main.js, and yeah, you have a create window, and then the window is index.html, and inside index.html we have this. We are using blah 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 document.write, and all of this.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on studying math in school while in terms of career building as a computer engineering student? So I never was a computer engineering student, so my opinions are limited on that. Well, not my opinions, but my knowledge. My opinions are not limited on anything. But my knowledge on that is really, really limited. I know I failed math. I failed math in high school, and I think I can say that I do pretty okay. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I have a good answer here. To be honest. Okay, some people definitely need the structure of that. Okay, so we have that npm start. Oh, Discord is built with Electron. That's pretty awesome. Slack is built with Electron. That's surprising.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah, I
How do
mean,
you know?
they have that on the website.
Well, Slack, like entirely,
Yeah.
hard for me to imagine.
Okay, so let's see what we have here. Okay, so we have like UI dialogues and stuff like that. So that's pretty awesome. Zist Zero, is it the nickname? Hi. I don't know how many people do we have live now. We don't have many. We have about five, four. So hi. Okay, great. So now what we need to do is look up. There is some Electron UI library. I'm pretty sure we have one.
Oh, you know what? I
Yeah.
saw a blog. It's actually true. There's a guy, engineer at Slack, wrote that they shipped Slack desktop application with Electron.
Yep. All right. So we have components here. Okay, great. So then we have headers, class, toolbar header. Okay, that's nice. So you can have like these header and so on. So what do we need to get this? Let's try this. So is it download or is it like npm install? How do you do it? Let's look at getting started. Photon is downloadable in two forms within which you'll find following directories and file. Source code. So how do I get this? Compile minified CSS and fonts. Oh, okay, got it. Source code, if you haven't already downloaded source code for Photon. Um, okay, so then we have this. Oh, so it's actually only CSS and like images. That's insane. That's
Like,
pretty nice.
what do you mean you're saying? Like
Yeah,
it's
all
lightweighting?
of this library is basically just CSS. I
Mm-hmm.
just joined. I did some sort of Kickstarter for an Electron app. Do you use some sort of Kickstarter for an Electron app or just build your own config? Also, are you going to use anything particular for the front end? So we have a pretty, so let's do working here. So this is what we're working on. Um, so you can see that kind of what we're working on. Um, no, I'm not doing any Kickstarter. It's we're working on an app to solve distractions in the open office. To be all right. So let's look at components. So we have bars. And we have button groups. Okay, so we have forms. Okay. Now the question is with this one. So you have main window, and then okay. So main.js, and then you open a browser window. Main window.close up.ready. Okay, so index.html here, and then rendered. This file requires by index.html and will be executed in the render process. All of the Node.js API are available in this process. Okay. Awesome. So yeah, just meant code gen tool, like create React app and the like. PHP versus Node.js. Which one do you prefer? I prefer Node. Not that I prefer Node over anything else except PHP. So this is this one, and this is interesting because what I really need beyond anything is like transition. So let's see, Electron. I don't know, login transition. Let's see. Um, user auth. Let's see what we have here. I use Firebase. Oh my God, so many people are using Firebase. Okay, that's not what I want. Let's see what we have here. So this is Hello World and desktop capture. crash reporter, cookies, client certificate, cameras, mini code editor, notifications, spell check, power save blocker. No. Um, okay, let's see what we have here. Because what I want to see is how I transition between things. You know what I'm
Like
saying?
like between screens,
Yeah, let's
between.
say I have a login and now I'm logged in. Um,
Okay.
okay, so Twitch in the bum, no harm done. Oh my God. What are you working on? So this is what we're working on. You can check it out. But that's all nice and fun what we're working on. But we are so you mean for Electron Zist? So I don't know. This is like the first time. This is the first time I'm using Electron, so I just need to kind of see what's going on. So I'm just basically, looking around. It very well might be just like another, React or whatever app. Um, but again, I just don't know. Um, so let's see what we have here. So main process, scripts, renderer, communication, async, invisible message, sync message. Sync message, document get alien by ID. That's not what I want. Electron SDK. All right, so hello all, red site. Hello. Yeah, from what I hear, you can just router you want. Yeah, so this is what it looks like so far. I just want to, familiarize myself before I jump in. It very well might be, just a simple React and, you basically wrap it around some CSS, which seems weird, but this is like the first time I'm looking at it. So, okay, so Electron, and then we have this. So this is just the auth0, which is not what I want. So let's look at Electron, like React, Redux, or whatever. I just want to see what's going on here. Oh man, this is crazy. Okay, great. So this is what we have here. So, Twitch. Just remember that Electron is functionally in a browser. Using a URL navigation is basically the most natural solution. Yeah. This is what I'm thinking, and this is what I'm looking at here as well. You just do like main window dot load URL, but essentially what I'm looking for, just to kind of explain my thought process here. Where's my whiteboard marker? So what I'm looking for is essentially, where is the state managed? How does the state propagate between an internal component to the general state, and how does then the state goes to another internal component? So this is what kind of what I'm looking for, and it seems like there is a kind of a main window which essentially load URLs. But what I'm looking for is, once you load this URL, what kind of communication do you have back and forth with it in order to load another URL, or whether this URL is now responsible for getting that, right? So this is kind of what I'm looking for, and this is my thought process here. So before I go and jump into just like like coding, I want to understand how things are done, to understand how things are done. I just want to look at a few examples, get the inspiration, see whether it's just event propagation, simple JavaScript. You bump an event from the bottom and you get the event upstairs, and and then you bump the state and whatever, or you do something else. So this is what kind of I'm looking for. This is my thought process here. I've done dozens of React apps, complicated, Redux and states and, server side and whatever. But now I'm like in a new paradigm. So Yeah. Why is my full stack bot here? So first of all, Red Side, thank you for the follow. And I don't know why I didn't see that follow, by the way, which is weird.
This app is really small. There's just main.js, but it doesn't have a second screen, right? This starter app, Electron Quick Start. Does it have another screen at all?
Yeah, let me stop just a second. Let me stop the bot here because it's doing stupid things. The full stack bot. Full stack bot is not ready yet, and somehow it's so red side. Thank you for the follow.
Add 0 points.
Plus 0 points. Yeah, so I'm sorry about that. No points yet, but full stack bot is now in the corner. Full stack bot is now in the corner and thinking to himself, what has he done? So gotcha. How scope of state handle view changes and have yeah, exactly. That's what I'm looking for. I live in Virginia and there are no tech jobs where I live. I would love to get some remote work doing web development. Any strong advice? So look, I've been remote for a lot of my career. I wouldn't say for the most of it, but definitely for a lot of it. And I think the best advice I can give you is, let me show you actually. So I will never work out of an office again. There it is, from 2013. So check it out. But basically it comes down to this, right? So providing more value. It comes down to setting your own hours and communicating your hours. You have to get in a habit of communicating your thoughts and the process you're in clearly. When people, it's subtleties, right? Because think about it. When people see you in the office and you do this or this, they know you're thinking. They know you're like in some sort of trouble. They know you're like struggling with something. They can come and help you out, ask you, hey, what's going on, and stuff like that. When you're remote, they don't see that. So if you don't communicate that, you will essentially be a drone. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're essentially gonna be very isolated, kind of controlled, and you know what I'm saying? Kind of in the distance. So I think the best advice I can give you is show what value you bring, and second, communication. I think that's like key in order to be a good remote worker and get remote jobs. So let's see what we have here. So this is React Redux, whatever. Okay, so I see it here. Great. So it seems like that sounds like you worked in a low trust environment or remote as well, and they are very good at giving you autonomy. No, dude, I never worked in a low trust environment. I don't know if you're talking to me and or to Red Site, but I never worked in a low trust environment. But I don't know if you're talking to me, so I'll let you explain yourself if you're talking to me. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Upvoyer, Webpack, so many things. App, and then we have index. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so we have a router essentially. Okay, so it's not. Got it. Okay. So essentially, we can do a router. It's a React app. I mean, it's a glorified HTML and CSS. Yeah, I mean, it's just an imposter syndrome or something, like being concerned about not communicating your value, even though you're providing value with your work. Yeah, it definitely might be. Yeah, definitely might be. And dude, I worked 5,000 miles away or 8,000 miles away in different time zones. So your location is not the problem 100%. But I also don't know what's the situation with like finding remote jobs for junior engineers. So okay. So let's go ahead and get started here.
So what? So what do you? What are you able to kind of conclude from reading this? Like,
Yeah. So what I'm able to conclude is it's just HTML. It's essentially Electron is just a wrapper around HTML. All it gives you is just the window. That's it.
so you're
And
saying it works similar with like a web application.
yeah, exactly. You have more control over the um, because it's running inside of Electron, so you have control to um, the underlying kind of infrastructure of the operating system, I guess. Um, and yeah, other than that, I think it's so let's see. We have here app, and then we have yeah. You see, it's routes and main and all of that. So it's definitely something super simple. So we have container, and then we have logged in app and login. So here we have login and bund creator. Okay, so let's take this one as an example here, and let's clone
Electron.
this. Let's download this.
Oh, so basically you can build a similar. Well, you can build it with React and Redux. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. All right, so let's do code, open source, full stack network, and then let's do make dir -p Pomidori client Electron. What? Okay, so let's go here and cd here. Okay, what is going on? Okay, and then git init. Okay, cool. And let's open this here. Nice. So let's open this and let's bring the one from the downloads and put it here. Great. So now we can, let's see what we have here. So we can do npm install. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Red side, I anecdotally don't think you should get a remote job for your first job. I agree with that 100%. 100%. I think you should be in a place where you can get mentored and have some degree of a safety net without being necessarily amazing at communication. Dude, like, truth has been spoken here. I agree with that 100%. You can definitely get a safety net for a source if you're good at communicating, but if you aren't good direction without knowing, and just sort of don't speak up, and no one will know anything. Dude, 100%. What's been told here is the truth. Package.json. Let's see what we have here. Package.json and start. We don't have start. Got it. Why don't we have start? Electron builder. Okay, so let's see the README. Quick start clone. cd electron and then npm install and then npm run develop. Okay, develop. That's the first time. Npm run develop is npm run private compile source maps. Great. So let's try that. Npm run develop. And we should open up something. That's awesome. Oh, look, it's like, oh, it's essentially.
Wow, it's like this is a browser.
Yeah,
This is a Chrome.
Yeah, it's a browser. So let's do something. I don't know. Let's do login. Okay, logged in is something. Great. Great. So essentially we have a nice one here. So let's look at how this is built. So we need JS is likely not what we want. And probably have a main.js. So install extension, and then we have this one, Crash Reporter start. So what is Crash Reporter? So Crash Reporter is from Electron, product name. So let's do Pomidori, and then this one is Fullstack Network, and then here is Fullstack. What? Fullstack dot network. Upload to server false. All closed and then ready. Great. So now it's ready. Browser window. So it's gonna open with 1000/800. Did finish load and all of that. Great. So let's look at login.js. So now we do on login. So this dot handle login. Okay, so this handle login, on login, and then this dot props dot router dot push. Okay, so we likely have a route here, and then logged in is gonna be a login page. Awesome, awesome. Okay.
Do you kind of understand what like? So are they using like a browser to render all the HTMLs?
Yeah.
And make it look like a native app?
Yeah. So let's take this one, Photon, and let's download it because we're gonna work with it. So let's download. And then this one is just like the docs. My dog is barking. Can you hear her?
Yeah. Why?
Okay, so then this one we have a dist, CSS. We have fonts. Awesome. Okay, so let's see the getting started. Kramer. The sass and fonts. I think someone is at the door. Let me go to get it for just a second.
8:49.
Never mind. I forgot it's Monday.
And who's at the door?
No one was at the door, but on Monday, everybody puts out their trash cans because on Tuesday they take it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so compile minified CSS and fonts, no docs or original source files. Okay, so then we can basically take this and include it. Okay, so let's see it here. So then here we have a serve, and we have, where is index.html? So there is index.html. And inside of index.html, so inside app, so let's open this up here. And inside of app, we are essentially going to put this one from Photon, so CSS and fonts. And let's look at template app. Let's open it with Atom for a second. Oh yeah, so CSS photon.min, and then oh, we have a JS as well. Menu item. Okay, that's okay. I don't see a JS though. But I think that's all I need. So let's put it here. Let's close Atom here. And let's put the CSS and the fonts here. Great. So now here, so let's do style. So let's look here. 1 second. So the chat is really active, but I'm not part of it. Like where I live, clearance and stuff, but I really do anything with them because I'm not military. Okay. So when you guys need me, let me know because it seems like you're doing fine so far. Okay, so this is this one. Great, great, great. And this one is great. So here we have the CSS and then photon.min.css. Great. So now here in the login, we can go to Photon and look at the form here. So components. And then bars, bars, bars. And let's do lists, buttons, forms. There it is. Great. So we can do this. And just put that in the login. Like so.
Okay.
And then replace all the class with class name. And let's see if it runs.
That's a nice try.
No, that's all right. I know what happened in here. So we just need to wrap this in another div because a React component can only have one wrapper. So let's do this and then like 70 lines up here and paste that in. And we should be fine now. We're not. So line 24. This one. What's going on? Div, 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 div. So form here. Let's do that. Let's run develop. Okay, great. So expected corresponding JS6 closing tag for input. Okay, so, oh, this is very sensitive. Got it. So this is here, and then input is here, and then, whoa, what's going on? So input type is here, and again, here, and then again, like here, and another one here. Okay, so now npm run. Still, now the label line 57. We're moving. So this one input is this one I missed. And again. Well, this looks good.
Wow, it's running.
Okay, this looks good. Well, it's
Oh,
not.
look at that.
Yeah, it looks good. It's not well centered, but it looks good. So let's look at the console here.
That's pretty cool.
Prop type. Okay, this is nice. So what are you doing now? So Acidic Mushroom, what I'm doing is I'm building the Mac client. Some CSS clean that up, no problem. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Glutonis, Angular 2 versus React. Dude, don't even. React and a state management like Redux or MobX, and that's it. Don't even. Okay, so this one and this one and this one. So we should have some kind of a container that is nicely placed. I think so. I think Spence S. I don't know if you jQuery Kappa. So I don't know if you ever heard my opinion about Vue, but Vue has no money behind it. Once it has money behind it, then it will be worth looking at. Otherwise, it's not worth it. Can you elaborate? Just trolling. Redux works with Angular as well. Yeah, I can elaborate. React is better, much better. The community is better. The company behind it is better. Everything is better. And this is coming from someone that's done Angular in production on big things. Not I'm not a fanboy here of like, hey, I did one thing and now I concluded that this is better. You know what I mean? Okay, so this is the basic template, and I want to take this basic template here, and put this here, and div ID app. Do we have a div ID app? Div class window. Your app goes inside Windows content. Great. So this is ID of app. And let's put this script down right before the body. And class. Now, the question is, can this be class? I think so. This can be class. Okay, so this is reloading. Great. So now this is good. I'm gonna be in the chat in a minute, I promise. So data container. What is this? Div ID equals app. Something was missing here. So this one is link rel here. Something is missing and will not let me load the app. So div. And then let's put ID equals app here. Now, I think that should be it. Oh, this is actually loading in the browser. It's not even loading inside of Electron. Okay, great. So let's look at what we have here. I think what's pushing me more towards React is the next iteration that's supposed to blow away. Yeah, the fiber. Go is pretty good. I used a bit of Go. I use a lot of Go. A lot. Next iteration that's supposed to blow away Angular and Vue. Go is pretty good. Yeah, I won't change the API. And it runs pretty smoothly. Just performance because of the Go routing things. When do you think it's the right time to learn JavaScript framework when learning vanilla JavaScript? So I don't know if there is vanilla JavaScript anymore. I think you need to learn the basics of JavaScript, the language, the functional nature of the language, the composable nature of the language. What are functions? Why are functions values? And so on and so forth. What is a callback? What is a promise? Basically, things like that, and then learn a framework. So that's what I would do if I were you. So yeah, Electron runs on Chromium. What I'm missing here is that now my app will not render, and I'm trying to see why.
Do you cut your own hair?
Who asked that? Acidic mushroom?
That's not even called cutting. It's called shaving.
Yeah, I cut my own hair. Yeah. I cut my own hair. I mean, look at that. That's fabulous. Look at that. Look. That's fabulous, man. Look how clean.
It's called bold.
It's not bold.
It's called bold.
It's not bold.
You got no hair.
Okay, so let's save this here. And now our app renders. So something here. Okay, so let's go to this again. Here. And then we need the script here. Oh, got it, got it, got it, got it. Okay, I know why. Okay, so this one is here, and then so let's put this one like here, and then this one div id equals app, only two p's, and then div again, and then we can remove this and remove this. Let's hope. Okay, great. So now this is looking better, and then now this is CSS photon.main, I think. Awesome. So this looks better. You see, it's like what is going on Twitch? Certainly don't jump. As a React learner, I would say build some website with Gulp, jQuery, and CSS, then learn React. I agree. Certainly don't jump into Webpack from the start. I agree. Since React kind of combines HTML to JavaScript, you'll have to better understanding what's going on. Yeah, you need that to understand like the DOM and the virtual DOM and what is the DOM, the virtual DOM, and so on. Enough stuff. jQuery is so early 2000. It depends on your personality. If you can sit down and go hard on a book, absolutely do that. Otherwise, just play. Well, to be fair, you don't really have to learn Webpack to use it with all the boilerplates. I disagree, actually. You definitely don't need to go a lot into it, but when something goes wrong with Webpack, you can spend days. And all of the documentation for Webpack 1 is basically obsolete. And all of the people that wrote posts and did not update them, you know, everything becomes obsolete. So, yeah, you need to, yeah, you're going to spend days, 100% going to spend days. How many people do we have now in the chat? Like 10? Oh, we have more.
30.
Oh, wow. Okay. So first of all, people in the chat room, welcome. I want to welcome you, each and every one of you. I'm not going to read the names, but you see this one, each and every one of you are awesome. And first, you know, I want to welcome you. And second, the purpose of this stream, as you can see, we're pre-programming, well, see or hear, we're pre-programming, but, you know, beyond that, the chat is open, and I can see it right here. And, you know, this is a really kind of an open channel for communication. The purpose of it is, I think, not often do you see, you know, I'm going to try to say that as it is, you know, you take it as the way you want it. But it's not often that you get a chance to sit down with someone with 16 years of experience, and ask open questions. You know, it's questions about career, questions about technology choices. You know, I've been around the block a few times. I've seen the fanboys, you know, I've seen the fanboys of 2000. I've seen the fanboys of 2005. So, you know, the purpose of this is really, you know, to help people and open up a channel of communication. But, you know, and other than that, just see how we work on a project from beginning to end. You know, not often you can see that, you know, how do you make decisions? How does a senior engineer go and make decisions and start a project and like deal with issues? And, you know, everything is live. Nothing is scripted here. I don't have a to-do or anything like that. I don't have notes. So I literally go as I would go if this was a project in my workplace. So please feel free to ask questions. And there is a follow button up there. So don't be shy to hit that button. And Jarmahen, thank you for the cheer. And we have a nice SpongeBob animation today for everyone who follows and cheers and tips. Subscribe button too. Yeah, we have a subscribe button. And we do every month we do sort of a lottery between all of the subscribers, and one of the subscribers is gonna be eligible for 1 hour of pair programming on a project of his choice, his or her choice. I've done jQuery, but I'm currently learning vanilla JavaScript, building a small project. Yeah. I'm trying not to talk because I'm supposed to crash course VBA, so I cannot sound completely ignorant for an interview tomorrow. Talk, listen, subscribe button too. Yeah. Um, enough stuff. Thank you for the follow. I can't really learn. I can't really learning from reading from books very well. I'm the same. Yeah, 1 hour of help. Wow, subscription. Thank you. Wow, second. That's awesome. Thank you. SpongeBob. I told you we have a SpongeBob. Oh, look, we have a SpongeBob and a troll. That's pretty awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we have a troll for the subscription and SpongeBob for the follows. Um, I easy to learn VBA. Wow, I did VBA a lot. If you're wondering, Izzy, literally been watching a course for 3 hours, and I pretty much really not difficult giving. Okay, great. So now the chat is pretty much self running. So again, people, first of all, people, new people to the channel. Again, welcome. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. This is an open channel of communication. So please go ahead and feel free to ask questions. Okay, great. So now we have our login here. So we have our login, we have an email, we have the password, description. All of this is now bullshit. So let's go and take this description and cut it out, and this one we can cut out, and basically all of this 21 lines down we can cut out. And then we have a cancel and OK, which is nice, but let's save it. See how it goes. Great. So now we have a login. Awesome. And then the button on click. Why is this dot refs dot username dot value? It's pretty stupid. But okay, we can live with that. So this is username, and so let's change this to username to password, like so. Oops, what happened? Username to password, and do that. On login, username. So on login is a function. Prop type dot func. Great. So on login. And then here, so login.js. So on login is being passed in here. And then password. So we're going to pass in a password. Now, let's look at main.js. So no, index. app.js. Okay, app.js. So we have a router. So route login page. So login page on login user.login. Okay, so import login from components. Gamester707, thank you for the follow. So user.login. Where is user? User actions from actions user. User is bind action creators. Okay, so action user. And then login is create action user login. Okay, great. So it's going to be create action, then reducer, user action dot login, state action. Okay, pretty simple stuff. Really not that complicated. And on login, user login. Awesome. Okay, so login is create action user login. Great. So no, it's not worth it to learn Vim. I've been using it for 5 years and it has been complete time drain. I'm 100% sure in my first 2 years of using, I've spent more time. Thank you for the follow, Pisti. I think. I hope so. So here I disagree, but whatever. So you look, you see how I work with Vim, and then you decide whether it's worth it or not. And So let's look at login.js again and close this here and go to actions user. And then we have a login here. And let's split this here. Oh, the chat is active. I've gone from not using Vim, forcing myself to learn it. Don't do it, man. I'm still stuck in Vim Bible thump. Honestly, just use whatever editor you feel. I agree. Whatever editor you feel most comfortable. Um, here's what I would add. Use whatever editor you feel most comfortable with, but learn all the shortcuts. Just all the shortcuts. Nice shiny orb. Prime Day special. What are we talking about? I hope you're not referring to my head with the orb. I'm considering getting Space Max. Just switch from Atom VS Code and liking it. Though he uses Emacs. Pragmatic Programmer has like a whole chapter about this where he talks about tools. Okay, so here, what did I change it to password? So username and password, and this one. So now this will reload, and then on login. On login is a function. So let's go to login page. And on login is part of user.login, and user is bind action creators. Okay. Okay. Jaxo Muff, thank you for the subscription. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are awesome today. What do you use for documentation? Yeah, you have to say it every time. I'm sorry. You have to say Jaxom of Ruata or something like that, right? I hope so. What do you use for documentation generation? Have you used Doxygen? So I don't think I ever used Doxygen. But lately what I used was so first of all, I use Swagger for all the API documentation. So all of our APIs are documented via Swagger, and it's incredible. So definitely check Swagger out. You need to be a bit more strict on the planning side because it's basically generated from your code. But other than that, it's amazing. So definitely Swagger. And then what was the other one I was using? So Jekyll, documentation. Man, I don't remember what was it. What was it? What was it? I don't remember, but there's some Jekyll documentation something. Let me see. I have it somewhere. I can look it up. Thank you for the follow. So it's somewhere around here. I don't see it. No, I don't have it. There is some Jekyll documentation for it, but I can't remember the name. Jekyll API doc template, something like that. Maybe it's that one. Yes, found it. All right. Jax Om of Ruatha. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Um, thank you for the follow. The alias IO. Wow, that's crazy. I have a competing Jack's feel bad. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and get this ball going. Because what I want is, you know what? Instead of getting the login working, which is boring,
Hmm.
I want to do the timer.
Yeah, that's more interesting.
I want to do the timer and get the timer working. Um, so let's go ahead and go to main. So app.js here and app.js here, and then route. So route, the main component is the app, and what I want to do for the index route, I want to do src. So src. What's going on? Okay, so src app src. What is going on? So app containers timer page. Make dir dash p app containers timer page. Great. And then let's look at login page here. And then app containers timer page index.js. So we have that here. All right, great. So then we have the login. We have the actions. So you know how I do it. It's like, for me, it's here, actions like so, and then this is going to be timer actions from actions. And actually, I like to be more explicit about it, as you know. And yeah, so let's go to the routes, and then the index route is not going to be the login. So let's put the login to be timer. So then this is timer page, and this is going to be the timer page. Great. Then we have the timer from the components. So make dir dash p app components timer, and then src app components timer index.js here, and then put it here, components, and then all of this is here. Prop types, let's remove this, and then here we'll do this timer page. Great. And then this is not login but timer. What? Timer ggvg. What? ggvg. Login to timer. So on login, we don't want that. What's going on? Return. Map dispatch to props. Okay, so here I want to return this. This map state to props is horrible. Okay, so let's return this. This is like the worst thing you can do, to map your entire state to everything. Like the worst. Timer here. And where are we now? So let's look at our console. Can't find components timer. Okay, so we are here, components timer. Okay, so this is timer. Great. Timer. where are we now? Let me close all of this and let's refresh. Okay, so app, and then we have components and timer. So index.js is here. And then we have containers and timer page. Timer actions we don't need for now. Bind action creators, okay, that's good, that's good, that's good. Well, I don't actually need bind action creators. All I care about is the components. And so this is 2 levels up. Okay, components timer. And now we get timer page. Great.
Awesome.
Okay. So let's think about how we need to do this. And people in the chat room, I want to, again, walk through my thought process and walk through the architecture of it, and feel free to participate and comment and ask questions. Okay. Great. So if we're looking at our screen, right? So you have like a selection of, like so, of time. Right? So you have 20, you have 25, you have 30, you have whatever, right? So you're going to select the time, and then you're going to have start. Oh, I'm not showing the whiteboard. Okay? So then you're going to have start. Now, this start is going to go to the server and start the timer on the server. Now, in parallel to that, it's going to start the timer on the client as well. There are a few things we need to handle here. One is client closes, right? Which means, hey, I closed the client. I did not, I forgot about the task. The second is timer finishes on the client, right? So we have the client closes, we have the timer finish on the client, right? And then we have a distract, right? So the distract basically means, hey, I got a distraction. I need to log this. Okay. And we need to handle kind of all of these situations in parallel on the server and on the client. So this one, we already have a handle on it on the server. So if the client closes, we have that cleanup process on the server, right? So every minute, the server will go and check all of the tasks that are open and expired and essentially close them up, right?
Yeah.
And if the timer finishes, what we want is to go back to the server and essentially finish the task, right? And if the distract, then again, we need to go to the server and essentially finish the task. Or actually like move it to the state of distract, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we kind of need to get that. Now, before we really do that, what we need to do is handle the I closed my computer by mistake, sorry. So what we need to do before that, we need to handle the timer on the client side, like literally the timer on the client side. So just like run a timer on the client. So as simple as that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's look at our chat. Has anyone looked at React XP? I don't know what that is. I'll check it out. Let's see what it is. What is React XP? A library for building cross-platform apps. No, never saw it. Yeah, you have a button, activity indicator, platform, network, navigator. Never saw it. Um, I also figure out the best testing methodologies tool. I have to figure out the best testing methodologies tools for React. I was starting to get JUnit when I switched gears. I've heard Mocha and Jasmine thrown out. There's a lot. Um, bold. Bold. Um, Bald Eagle. Also to figure out how to use Gulp. Birdie. What's going on? Create React app comes bundled with Jest for components and unit testing. Um, Canned TEGH, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it a lot. Just thinking of it, since we are basically using React 3.4. Fuck Jest. Acidic Mushroom is burned by Jest. I don't think you need to remind him. He has a huge memory leak with Jest that is not letting him go. Okay, great. So let's start with the timer here on the client side. Well, before, you know what happened? An hour and 20 minutes has gone by. Dude, I
What's wrong with
actually...
that?
No, nothing was wrong with that. I actually thought we were streaming for like 20 minutes.
What?
Yeah, seriously. I actually thought we were streaming for like 20 minutes.
All right.
All right, so all out 8888 is now following. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it a lot. All right, so what did I want to say? So actually, what I'm realizing right now is that we're not gonna get to the timer today.
Hey, when you get the chance, would you post in the chat room this starter app that we're basing this project on? That would be very helpful.
Sure.
Like not right now, but whenever you get the chance. Thanks a lot.
Roboto Cat, did you start earlier this evening? No, started at 8, the usual time. I need to put a schedule on the Twitch page. I'm so bad with that, man. I need to put a schedule on the Twitch page. All right. What do I want to do? So I realize we're not going to get the timer done today, unfortunately. So
maybe we can set up the routes, like just set up the bigger picture, what pages it's going to end up having, that kind of stuff.
No, I don't think I mean I need to finish today at 10, so because I have another meeting at 10.
Okay.
So it's going to be a bit of a problem. So what we're going to do is the chat's favorite part, which is
Q&A. What?
questions.
Hey, I actually have a question. I want to go first because this is going to be a quick one for you.
Yeah.
This will be like a 2-minute, literally. So this is a question I was asking you earlier during the day before the stream. Remember, I was looking for that tool you were using to release a Go program, like the one you manage your versions and bump it. Like
it's pip install bump version. So pip install bump version.
What's it on the chat?
Yep. You see? Pip install bump version. That's it.
Bump version. Oh, it's called bump version.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the other one is the one you use for cross-platform compiling. I think that one I already found it.
I use Gox.
Oh yeah, Gox. The one I saw was a different one.
Yeah, I use GOX Gox. That's a lightweight. Come on, man. Those are lightweight questions.
I know. That's why it's quick. That's what I. No,
Um,
bump version is the one I was looking for.
yeah, so acidic mushroom meeting at 10. That's what happens when you have multiple time zones. What do you think an experienced developer, but with only 5 years of professional experience doing full stack development, average salary? Depends where you are. Um, it really depends where you are. You know, I had recruiters, emailing me from Raleigh, Northern Carolina. Is Raleigh in like Northern Carolina? I don't want to say like something, whatever. But offering like $90,000, which in Bay Area in Bay Area terms, this is like ridiculous. So it varies a lot. The east, the far east and the far west of the United States are very different, and everything in the middle is maybe Denver and Boulder have some tech hubs, but everything like outside of those three areas, maybe Austin, like as I remember, I'm saying those, but those vary a lot. So it really depends where you are. But dude, like salary, it's it's like this. It's 10% company, 80% ability to negotiate, and 10% professional level. Um, did it sum up to 100? I hope it sums up to 100. Fuck. Sweet, I do have a question. When approaching a problem, specifically in new lib framework, you sort of read a bit of the docs, then sort of grab the repo with the starter and grab bits and pieces and getting the rest through context. Um, yeah, that's my usual approach. Um, but again, you need to understand one thing. It's like once I understood, okay, this is React and Redux, and like you can do simple stuff like that. So then my problem domain, the domain that I don't know, is basically narrowed down to what are the APIs of Electron, right? So what I try to do is I try to like hack my way to something running, and hack my way to like understanding the problem through my fingers. You will not see me, sitting here and reading and reading and reading and reading and reading and reading and reading, right? You will not see me do that. You will see me solving the problem through my fingers, and I need really 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 small margins in my feedback loop, right? So hey, this is not working, right? As you saw me, I looked at like 4 different websites, 4 different documentation. I saw the UI library. I saw the Atom. I downloaded that. I downloaded this. I downloaded that React. I seems it's like, hey, this is too much. I don't need that. So let's look at something more minimal. This something minimal is looking good. Let's make it mine. So that's usually my approach. And what I try to do is I try to narrow down the problem scope, right? I try to narrow down what I don't know as much as I can, and try to take little bites out of the problem. Just like little bites every single time. Um, uh, okay. I have a friend that moved from San Fran to work in Austin for Google on their cloud stuff. So that happens a lot these days. It happens a lot these days of people moving from the Bay Area. I talked openly about it many times. This area is getting ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I definitely see that, for moving to Austin and stuff like that. But I think what those areas are still missing is a lot of like 30 people companies, 40 people companies, 100 people companies, like a critical mass of small companies. Yeah, they have Google, but what if Google fires you, right? Or what if you decide this is a miserable job place and this is a miserable career choice? And I think this is why people still kind of stay here. 10 plus 80 plus 10. Yeah, that's so great. Why does that work for you? Like, what have you found the advantage of doing that? Um, So I I don't know. It just works for me. And again, it really depends on the task at hand. If you go to like yesterday's stream, then what I did yesterday, I worked on a very complex app of distributed messaging with Kafka, Flink, um, and Golang, and Zookeeper. So again, inside of that, there are a lot of things that you don't know. So what I needed to do is I needed to look at some consumer, and look at the consumer and look at the producer and understand what is the delta between them. So if you look at that, and by the way, if you look at yesterday's stream, it's like 5 hours, but it's 3.5 hours of Q&A. So just, you know, just go to that. And what you'll see is you'll see my problem solving process, and you'll see how that works for me. I mean, I don't know how to explain why that works for me, but it just works for me. You know, it's like for me, I don't really sit down and read a book or sit down and understand the like the depth of subjects. I just like I shorten my feedback loop as much as I can. What is the best way to find hackathons? I've been wanting to do that, but can't seem to really find any reasonable frequency. So look at meetup.com. I think meetup.com is a great choice. So you write software in many languages? Yes, I do. At what point in your career did you start branching out from one language developer to a multilingual guy? I think after about 10 years. So what happened was when I started with ASP, you know, classic ASP, what you called classic ASP, ASP3. And then I've done VB and then VB.NET, C Sharp. But I always did with that like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I don't know if that's considered like one language or 3 or 4 languages. And then I did a lot of ActionScript, which, you know, the technology that Apple killed. So I did that quite a bit, and did big project with huge companies. And then I think when I started doing Ruby, and when I started going into Ruby and really working on big problems and problems at scale in the cloud, that's when I transitioned to work on multiple languages. What do you recommend branching and learning more than just React and Node? I don't know if I do. I don't know if I do anymore, to be honest. I think JavaScript is gonna eat the world. And you know, today, if you know Node.js and you know Express, and you can, you know, work your way around doing some web interface to something with React, Redux. It doesn't have to be Redux, React or Angular or whatever, some state management, and an API, and working with a database, you can find a job. You know, you can't. It, yeah, I don't think you should do a lot. How do you go from newbie, intermediate to developing on a large, already established project? Like, if you know how to program in general, can you make your own smallish project? Dude, that's a good question. No paradigms, clean code principles, and even Git. I can't seem to find much information about this space in between with learning unit testing, TDD, and how to explore new code bases and stuff like this. Ha. Okay. Let me try. Let me try to answer that. So first of all, navigating large code bases is a skill, and it's a skill that takes a long time to develop. And I think, first of all, I think what makes a lot of progress as an engineer, what brings you to the next level, is doing TDD. And I'm not saying doing testing. I'm choosing my words here carefully, and I'm saying doing TDD. Because when you do TDD and when you embrace that paradigm, your code becomes much smaller, you write much smaller chunks of it, much smaller chunks of logic, and you tend to separate it out. And when you understand the power of mocking, and the power of stubbing, then you understand another level of how do I separate my code. The next level for me was when I understood messaging between different parts. Like, what do I need to pass to that piece of software in order for it to work? And then in my testing of this specific element of the software that is using that other specific element of the software, do I need to use it, or can I stub it out and then just check my code? How does it behave based on getting this message versus getting that message? So when you understand that and you embrace that, and you do your code and you write your code like that, then that's another level for you as an engineer. In regards to like navigating big code bases, it just takes work on big code bases. But usually what happens is that you need to find, and this is what I tell junior engineers, and Steven is here. Steven, you can attest to that as well. You need to work your way through the entry point. Oftentimes, what worked for me is this. So I will show you what worked for me. This is tooling 101, but I will show you how that helps, right? So let me take let's take a big project. How can I take a big project? Let me see. How can I take a big project? All right. Let me get something here, and let's take microcosm. Let's take microcosm. No, not microcosm. Let's take microcosm Flask. Right. So let's go here. CD open source. Git clone. This is the first time I'm looking at this project. Right. So this one, CD microcosm Flask. Right. So this is the first time I'm looking at this project. And what I usually do is I look at, hey, do we have tests? Once we have tests, I can look at the tests and understand what is going on, right? So first thing I see here is that we have some concept of a graph. So you see here, self.graph equals create object graph. And this seems to be something that is a key factor here. So wherever I look, I see, hey, there is a graph here. All right, so there is a graph, and it's part of microcosm.api. So it's actually a part of another project. So what I would do then, I will literally, and this is tooling, right? This is tooling, but I would split the screen and still look at this. It's like create object graph here, right? So I would look at this and I would say, okay, this is this one, and then microcosm API. So microcosm API is not even a part of this one. So then what I would do is I would split the screen again here. So let me split that. Let's quit Vim because I need to open up Tmax. So let's do it here. And then I would split it here and look at microcosm. All right, so here we probably have an API. Oh, there it is, the API.py, and we have a create object graph. And then create object graph is from microcosm object graph, so we probably have an object graph py, right? And in the same time, I am looking at, again, this like basic auth test, right? So this one, so create object graph, right? So here, and then I'm looking at object graph. So this is the basic object, right? And this is my my starting point. So let me show you that here. All right, so let me show you that here. Okay, so we have a metadata, we have a config, we have some sort of a lock-in and some sort of a registry and some sort of cache. Okay, so this seems like just an object cache to store something. So create object graph. So we store something with a name here, and then we can use it. So here we have a use. So this one will return a key. Okay. Anyway, so you got what I'm saying. The point is, and you saw this is live. Guys in the chat room, this is literally the first time I am looking at this project. And as you can see, it's like, oh, this is another project. So I'll open that project and I look at that project in parallel to the other project. And as you can see, it's like it's a process of understanding where the entry point is, and then following that rabbit hole as the code moves along and as the process moves along. All right. So Canned TEGH, I don't know if you're still here, but if you are, I hope that answered your question, and I hope it's satisfied. If not, then let me know. But yeah, okay. So who else has questions? As you can see, this is a pretty open forum. So please feel free to ask those questions. And while I get the sip of water, Stevens, do you have questions or comments?
No, not particularly at this point. I think you should push up this Electron app to the GitHub. So, if people are interested, we can look at it. I know I'll be kind of looking into the details of the implementation and stuff like that, and play with it maybe.
Yeah, will do. Will do. 8 years is a good number. 8 years is definitely a good number. What mountain bike should I get? Depends on what mountains you have. And I'm not a big mountain biker. I keep selling them to get better equipment for the road bike. Any advice for people who are just starting to look at entry-level positions? So I think, and here's the thing, Patrick C001. What? Wait a second. So just a second. 23 Hagbird 23. So there, every time I do this stream, there is the same question about entry level positions, and I think it's up to the point where I think I should make a video about it. Outside of the stream and maybe edit it a bit. But let me try and add that. So first of all, entry level positions can be a lot of things. Like, what do you already know? What have you already done? Do you have a GitHub profile? Just let me look into that a bit, and then I can give you a better understanding. Do you plan on incorporating, or is there a GUI monitoring interface for Zookeeper and Kafka? So for Zookeeper, there is. It's called Netflix Zookeeper. It's horrible, but whatever. What is it? It's not Curator. Zookeeper Exhibitor. Okay, so that there is Exhibitor, which is now part of the Netflix OSS, and it's a GUI for Exhibitor with like out of the box service discovery and so on and so forth. and that's for this one. And for Kafka, you have a Kafka manager, um, which is really really good. It comes from Yahoo, and it's really good. So you have partitions and brokers and clients, and you can see all of that. And this one is really good. And you can literally like pop a Docker container and point it to your Kafka cluster, and it will just work. Um, those are the two that are the best of my knowledge. Every time I worked with Zookeeper, it seems like this is like ancient technology, and literally no one except me is still working with it. Um, so,
That
uh,
was funny.
um, so you see projects from like 3 years ago and projects from 7 years ago, and like so it's a big problem. It's a big problem in our world today, um, because the world moves fast. All right. Um, was didn't no, that's all right, Patrick. It's not your fault. It's just what I wish I had was a better prepared answer. I'm not criticizing your question. What I'm saying is I wish I had a better prepared answer that is edited and I could just point you to. I'm not in any way saying anything bad about your question. Um, and thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. This is the largest, most complex project I worked on. All right, let's look at that. FSA code battle. So is that you, FSA code battle, or is just you? Did you just work on that one? So I need to know what your profile is here in order to understand. This is all telltale signs. Docker file. That's good. Node boron. Great. Um, so let me. If you have a GitHub profile, let me know. Have you ever used Flume as a source of Kafka? POC something now? No. Meant to say I'm POCing, not asking you to. Okay. Oh, got it. Okay. Where is it? Where's your original one? 23 something. 23. Do you plan on incorporating, or is there a GUI monitoring? Okay. It was a group project with three other members of PCH Mura. Okay. So I agree with Zist Zero. Definitely, after a couple months, you should be hireable. Stevens, maybe you can talk more about it. And also, I think the company that you started with and the situation that you landed to is sort of unique. So if you can talk about that, that would be great, because I think you of all people have the most experience with like finding a job as a junior engineer. What is the best job as a junior engineer? Like, what do you need to look for, and so on and so forth. So for me, it's like I need to look back 16 years ago, and I think for you it's a better question. So
Yeah, sure. I mean, like obviously, maybe I'm a better person to answer this question because I did what probably some of you guys are doing currently is, I have a degree in economic and business from actually one of the top school in the world. But anyways, I didn't like what I did. I hated my life and this and that. And at one point, I decided to, hey, let me give it a try. So basically, I learned, it took me about 10 months to kind of ramp up to a point where I'm like comfortable, at least confident enough to go out and try to find a job. And my biggest takeaway is like you had to just start really really humble. And the way I did it was I went out and I sent an email to I don't know, 50, 60 companies. And in the email, I made it plain and simple. I told them, hey, I'm a beginner. And I told every single one of them I'm willing to work for free, right? This is what I said. I had zero experience. I had no degree in computer software engineering, but I have undying passion for it. And, I'm willing to take more risk so that you can just give me a chance, right? So what I did is I sent out like 50 emails to 50 different companies, and I say I want to work for you, so would you take me on and try for like a month or 2 months, and I'm gonna take $0 pay, right? I can just fix like the most random bug that you have just to get a chance, right? And for me, like it turned out to be really well. Like I was able to get a job in like 2 weeks, right? After from the moment I decided to send out this email to the moment the company hired me as a contractor, it took about 2 weeks. So the situation is like there are a lot of like demand for engineers in the market, but most of them they want senior engineer, right? They want good engineer, and most of them they actually don't want to hire juniors or they don't want to take a risk. But if you kind of really put yourself in like a humble position, and you're willing to take more risk or share the risk with the employer, they some of them, and I think a lot of them might be willing to kind of give you a stack, right? So I started as a contractor, right? I offered to work for free, but they didn't want me to work for free, right? For legal purposes. So I worked for 3 months as a contractor, and then I extended another 3 months, and after like 6 months working as contractor, and then I transitioned into a full-time job. And actually that's the company Avi worked at previously. So Avi was a senior engineer when I started there, and he really really hated me and wanted to fire me several times when I started there. But again, that would be my take is like you have to be humble. When you're 10 months or you spend like even a year or 2 year, you're actually wasting resources. Like for the first 6 months as a junior engineer, your company is losing money on you. Literally, that's what I think. Like any company who's willing to take on you, they have to make a big decision to invest in you, that you have
But
to last more than 6 months.
one thing that I think maybe you should focus on while I go get my phone. I have to go in for a 5-minute phone call. Um, One thing I would want you to focus on, as part of this question is what what I'm saying, because I interviewed you, and
Yeah.
I can talk more about that, like what was the interview process and what did I see. But what I want to say is like, what do you think is important to emphasize in that interview in order for someone like me, right? And what I'm saying is someone like me, not like I'm trying to elevate myself to some kind of position, but someone that is interviewing you, right? When I say
Yeah.
someone like me, is literally your interviewer, right? I'm not suggesting anything to elevate myself on that, but what I'm trying to say is like, how did you know, and I know you've just been yourself. There wasn't no strategy or anything like that, but what I'm saying is, beyond that, what did you emphasize, and what did you think I emphasized in order to convince you to come, and then what was the process of like that initial powwow between a senior engineer and a junior engineer, taking back, I'm saying, taking back the clashing sometimes, and it's like the frustration. But I mean, talk about your growth as a junior engineer. Talk about like, why do you think a junior engineer, and we've talked about it when and I told that to many junior engineers when they wanted to become senior engineers. Like someone offered them a job as senior engineers, I told them, no, you're still a junior engineer, still need to stay in that position. So if you
Yeah.
can talk about that, with what is that balance, what did you say in order to convince, quote unquote, me to get to hire you, and then what was the process of working with a senior engineer, with like 16 years of experience gap. There's like 16 years of experience gap, there's a cultural gap, there's like a lot of, there's the communication gap and so on. So I want you to talk. And a lot of people here have that experience, right? I definitely, don't even remember that experience. It's been so long ago. So
Yeah.
So definitely, if you can talk more about that, and people in the chat room, if you can direct him towards what you want him to talk about, while I go get my phone, and I'll be back in a second. All right, go ahead, Stevens.
Sure. So I guess well, he told me to talk about a lot of stuff, but I think the one of the most important thing is as a junior going in the interview, it's more important to focus on persuading like whoever that interview you that you are open, you're a good learner, right? Like you're open to learning new stuff and you're humble. Like your attitude and your potential to ramp up and your ability to work with like people with different experiences, that would be like I would say, in my opinion, that's one of the bigger things they look for, right? That's why I emphasize on when you're a junior, like you shouldn't expect to like show too much of your competency. Like you are incompetent in their view, like no matter how competent you are as a junior, this is much more complicated. Like the route to being like a professional and a good engineer. Like that's one of the things that surprises me personally is like, oh, I thought you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, but the more I do it, the more I realize it's extremely difficult and complex to be a good engineer, right? It takes so many years of practice, right? And even if you had like a year or 2 years of experience, you are definitely still a junior, right? And I've been working professionally for like 3 years already, and still consider myself a junior because I know there's still many things I don't know. That, that's why, like in the beginning, if you ever go into an interview, um, hey Avi, you should turn off your microphone. I think he's not really responding to us. We can hear him through his conversation. Um, anyhow, I'll continue. So yeah, so when you're interviewing, there's like two parts, right? There's like the technical part and there's the behavior part. All right, I guess the technical part is less relevant than the behavior part, where you want to prove that you're able to learn, and that is like essential, right? And I see a lot of like one of the mistake people like junior people make, or people with self-taught like background, is like sometimes you misunderstood and you're too eager to prove that your technical capability, like your technical competency. You're saying, hey, this is what I built, look how awesome this is, look at this smart thing I did in this code base and this, like those things can be good, but then again, you have to realize, like as a junior, like you have to be humble, you have to be saying, hey, like I'm trying to learn here, like I want to join because I want to learn, and I know you guys have a lot of experience, and I'm open to learning, and I will contribute, I will provide value by being the quickest learner possible, right? I'll contribute a little in the beginning, but I'll ramp up really quick. And I think for the employer, that's really important for them. Like they are taking a risk hiring a junior engineer. No matter how good you are, no matter what school you graduate from, they're taking a risk. The the difference is how big of a risk that is. And whatever you do or you say should be like try to persuade them that they're taking less risk on you, right? And like when Avi kind of interviewed me, I remember clearly, like one of the things he cared the most is how how do I work, like how do I communicate. um so Jackson of Ratha, so I think my question is always how to say I'm a good learner without sounding like I'm just saying what everyone else says. I guess how much you've learned in a short time. Not sure if that's good or bad either throw. So I think how to say I'm a good learner, a good example would be just tell them how you learn certain things, and be humble. Don't be afraid to appear dumb. Don't be afraid to appear like, just say, like I would just tell them the ugly side of my learning story. I would tell them there was one small thing that cost me 3 days, right? I would tell them like there was one little thing that I got stuck on, right? I banged my head against the wall for like 8 hours, right? Like I would literally, when I was learning, right, I would literally be stuck on a problem for 4 hours, right? I got so frustrated, I would go out for a run, right? I would come back, I will bang my head against the wall for 2 more hours. I wouldn't get anywhere. I would go out get a burger and get some fries, and then I come back and bang my head against the wall for 3 more hours, and I wouldn't get anywhere. And the second day, I would repeat that process, right? And on the third day, it was so painful. It was literally like a it's like a death march toward nowhere, right? And then at that point, I started to reach out to people, right? I started to go on Quora. I started to go on, like Quora was one of my main source, and I was able to find like a couple people who's willing to help out. And I would literally email, I would cold email, I would cold call these people and say, hey, dude, I know you've been answering questions on Quora. I know you're like an experienced engineer, and I know you're into like helping people. Now I'm a self-taught engineer. I'm trying to learn this, and I'm stuck on this. Do you think you can help me? Do you think you can like we can grab a cup of coffee? This is one of the better thing. I live in the Bay Area, so one guy in the beginning who was teaching me, like who was mentoring me, like I literally co-emailed him like 4 times, and then he agreed to have coffee. And then I kept in contact with him. I keep trying to like ask him for help, and then he'll end up like mentoring me more, right? So I would tell this story. This is how I told my story to the employer, right? Like I'm not trying to prove I'm a genius. I know I'm not, and I got nothing against genius, but I don't think that genius is like you need to be a genius to be a good software engineer. But I think you need persistence, right? You need that strength. You need the what's the word, like you just need the determination to to do it, and you need to prove to them, right? You need to tell your story to prove to them that you have the determination to go on it. And I think that did a lot of goodwill, on my side. um yeah, so 23 Hackbar 23, agree with everything as to how to show good learner. That's where passion comes in. I've interviewed 100 plus people and I've always started by asking what did they outside of work, private project, other groups, open source involvement that proves learning. Yeah, I think as a junior engineer, like passion matters more than your technical capability. Like passion and inspiration sometimes is underrated, right? Like it's underestimated. Like it's a very powerful thing. And if you show passion, if you show persistency, right? If you show like you have that determination and strength to do something that's a little bit like unique, people are willing to give you a chance, right? I think as a self-taught engineer trying to like crack into like Silicon Valley or trying to get your first job, you're really trying to sell yourself. You're trying to sell your story. You're trying to persuade someone to take a risk on you, and you have to be humble. Just tell your story and tell them why. Like it's not about what you do, it's about why you do it. Tell them why you decided to be an engineer. Tell them why you find this such an intriguing and interesting thing to do. Tell them why you decided to do this as a career, right? Like tell them why you wanted to make that career switch. So this is a very, at least from my experience, that's a powerful thing. And here at least in Bay Area, these founders, right? These founders, these companies, they came from all kinds of different backgrounds. They understand that, they understand that good talent and good people can come from different experience, and good people can come from different
I'm back.
background. What's up, Avi?
So did I mute in time?
Yeah,
Okay.
we were hearing your phone call.
Okay.
Anyways, so I was wrapping up right now. So that, just I was just saying that, it's more important to show how you learn and how you will grow, how you communicate, and show that determination and show that passion.
Yeah.
If you're a junior trying to like break in this industry, right? Like technical capability, like literally senior people, they don't give a shit, right? Like Avi didn't really give a shit what I knew, because no matter how much you knew, you still know way too little to matter at that point, right? Like people want to know your technical capability just to know that you're not bullshitting, right? You actually know how to like what code is. But a lot of the things you learn will be on the job. You wouldn't be able to learn just doing like one project, two projects. And companies, they have like company specific technology or protocols that you will need to learn later on as well. So again, overall, it's a persuasion. You gotta persuade. You gotta sell yourself, man. Like, if you're a junior and you don't have a degree and you're trying to break in, you have to sell yourself. You have to sell your story. You gotta persuade the senior that's interviewing you that you will be the least pain in the ass for him to mentor you, right? Like in the beginning, I was such a big pain in the ass for Avi, right? Like, I had to learn how to work with him, but I knew that I wouldn't be able to survive if I didn't learn how to work with him. You know, you have to be less of a baggage and a liability. But make no mistake, you will be a liability no matter what. It's about being the least amount of liability, right? It's about being less a pain in the ass for senior engineer. So don't overestimate yourself. Don't be too eager, and don't show an ego. Ego is one of the worst thing to have as a junior engineer. And a lot of people, I think, they have that. You have this ego, and you're not willing to let go of your ego. You're too shy to ask questions. You're too shy to, like, you're too afraid to appear to be dumb. And you know what? That's actually one of the things people hate the most, right? If you always pretend to understand something while you don't, people are not gonna come in and teach you. They're just gonna let you go. They're gonna let you keep pretending, and one day you will fail, right? Never be afraid to like show your ignorance, because that's the fact. As a junior, you there's so much you need to learn, man. Like, Avi today, there's so much he needs to learn. You know, like, there's no way, like, if you're just 2 year, 1 year, 3 year into this thing, there's no way you can like act like a pro, or just trying to like have that ego and try to like act you're the king of the jungle, and that will hurt you in the long run. So that's my take on that issue.
I think I'm
Yeah.
getting close to being at least a bit familiar with every technology I've heard named. Okay, so first of all, Steven's great answer, and great speech, and people on the chat. I hope I hope it gave you kind of the point of view from the junior engineer point of view, because often, no matter how I want to sympathize with the situation of being a junior engineer and trying to scramble to find a job, it's not going to be as vivid as what Stevens is feeling. I think one thing, that, and I'm sorry because I was on the phone call, I did not hear what you were saying. At least not most of it, but what I want to from to understand from you, and I think you're really, as an engineer, you really honed in on that, in the last 2 years, and not before that. Um, what do you think is the best way to work with a senior engineer? What do you think was the key that made you work better inside of a senior team?
um I think you just have to be really, really humble, and you have to be really, really persistent, and you have to ask a lot of questions. You have to be curious, and just ask a lot of questions, and be really, really, like, persistent on doing that. Like, that at least that was my experience, right? Like, it's senior people, like, they have a lot of, like, things to do on their hand. They have a lot of workload, and sometimes you ask a question, they might not answer you, but you have to keep going back. It's like, because you are trying to learn, and they are, when they mentor you, it's more like doing you a favor. It's not really like they don't get paid to mentor you, they get paid to do a real job. And, like, you just have to be humble, and then you have to be persistent, and you have to just be more understanding, and be more aggressive in getting help, but then be humble, right? Be aggressive, but be humble, right? Don't be aggressive like go fuck yourself, like that kind of aggressive, but aggressive in a way that, like, if there's something you don't understand and you really need help, you have to constantly ping the senior engineer, like, ask for help. Like, if he doesn't have time, then make time, right? Schedule with him. If that time doesn't work, schedule another time. And if you don't understand something and he think you should understand, then explain why you don't understand. Explain why, like for the previous like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, he was explaining why you don't understand. Just be very patient and be very persistent. Like persistent is important. And I think most importantly, you have to show your passion, right? And that people don't like wasting their time. You got to show that you have a passion for this and you're making progress. I think people like this, like obviously a good example is like people who is nice enough and who have good character and nice enough to mentor you. They have nothing to gain. They're not making money off this, but they want to know that you're actually making progress. They want to know what they do is not a wasting of time, right? It actually makes sense. It creates value. So, but you by showing passion and showing progress and putting in the work and time, I think it makes the senior more comfortable, and it makes him think that his time is actually somewhat worthwhile, and then he has an easier time to kind of sit down with you for that 10 or 30 or an hour. And I remember, Avi, there are many times that you spend your personal time kind of mentoring me. um, I'm not paying you. I've never paid you, right? Like, the only thing I can think of that, kind of motivate you to do that is you think you're creating value by doing that. You're helping someone and you're seeing the progress that I've made in the last years that we worked together. And I think that is what provides you with the comfort that you are willing to help me. And I appreciate that so much, and I think it's very rare to find that kind of situation.
I think so. First of all, thank you. And I think the thing that you need to balance, and it's almost an art, is what question do you ask, and what question do you not ask. And
Right.
the most maddening thing, um, for me, is to get questions about easily Googleable questions, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a Google, it's like a click away from you. You know what I mean? So you need to develop that sense of exactly. So read the fucking manual, and sometimes like read the fucking code as well, right? So it's there, it's in front of you. But what I'm saying is, if you did that and you did this and you did that and you still don't get it, that's all right. Come to me. We will sit together. We will work it out. But challenge yourself first, to the point where you're stuck. But also on the other side, and again, I'm very open about my failures as a senior engineer. And oftentimes my failures were, it's like, fuck it, I'm going to do it, right? Fuck it, I'm going to do it, right? And again, I'm really open about that. And I've grown as well over the years as a senior engineer and a team leader. And I think also, I think there is a lot of difference between a senior engineer and team leader. And the worst you can do is like say, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Fuck it, I'm going to do it. And of course, it's going to take you 20 minutes, right? Of course. So, and what I'm saying is sometimes, you can do as a senior engineer in 20 minutes what a junior engineer can take 2 days.
Yeah.
But you need to, if it's not critical, you need to let them have those 2 days. But, you need to find a balance on both ends, is like what is considered a waste of time and what is considered an investment of time.
Yep.
One thing is a senior engineer, and speaking of, so we have HZ, mice, what matters more, skill or degree? Skill, 100%. Simple question, simple answer. 100% skill. One thing as a junior engineer, and speaking of the passion, if something gets you stuck, absolutely ask me. But do show that you did try to Google. Tell me what you tried. Like, show me that you put some effort before asking me. That's very important to me. Yeah. So it's like we mirrored each other. You know what I'm saying?
It's literally what you were saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's literally what I was saying, and it's like I always say to people, it's the scars talking, it's the wrinkles talking, right? It's like I spent more time fucking Googling than you spent time as an engineer. You know what I'm saying? It's like I spent more time in my career tackling problems than you were like born. You know what I mean? It's like, um, so I've been there, but and you have to be there as well. So I am not your Google. I am not your answers.com, right? I am your big picture things. This is what I am to you. I am your teacher, right? I am your mentor. I am your teacher. I can get you unstuck and we can talk architecture and we can talk your problem, but you need to make one step and then I will take you 5 steps forward. But make that step. Challenge yourself and make that step. From what I have understood, wait. So I think I have the opposite problem of wanting to figure out the problem so bad myself, and like I said, it's some you're. It doesn't matter how much you want to. Sometimes you will just not be able to.
That's true. That's true.
And again, it's not that I'm smarter than Stevens. It's just that it's you can't do in 2 days what I've done in 16 years. And again, I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about a senior engineer. I'm talking about another team member who is 2 years into that code more than you, right? Is 2 years into that product more than you. You don't have that knowledge. You don't have that growth in you. So sometimes no matter what you try, you just get stuck and you just get stuck, banging your head against the wall. But you can Google and look Stack Overflow dealing with some issues. Yeah. From what I've understood, all that degree does, other than being well-rounded, is to make initial positions easier. Past that, it doesn't seem to matter nearly as much. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. I talked about my education more than once on the stream. Everybody's sick of hearing that. I talked about my education many, many times. And I think I'm the living proof that education matters very, 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 very little. I haven't been in a developer role and I'm self-taught. Yeah, so definitely a good talk here. Good talk. It's like it's been a very interesting experience to do those streams for me. But yeah, it's a good talk. And Stevens, I think what, and guys in the chat room, if you can back me up here on what Stevens did and talked, it's gonna be great, because I think what he brought here, into this conversation, into this talk, is the experience of being a junior engineer in a team and also working, I don't know, with me or under me or whatever you want to say, which is not, it's not very easy, because I have very high demands. So I think that experience is invaluable. And no matter how much, I'm gonna try to again sympathize with that and try to understand that position, I'm not gonna be able to.
Yeah, you're demanding. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I showed how you navigate a big code base. By the way, both of these projects that I've shown are open source projects from the company I work for. So definitely go check those out. Microcosm Flask and Microcosm here. So check those out as well. They're a great way to build Python projects. What else? Do we have people left in the chat room? We have a few people. How many do we have? How many do we have in the chat room?
18.
Oh, that's good. So 18 people probably has questions. I'm
gonna jump at 10:30.
I never look at degree when interviewing someone, but if you don't have a degree, you should probably do some research on data structures, types, and understanding performance, efficiency of algorithm. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. All right, so this is the point where the chat is slowing down. So this is the point where we're gonna end this. There are a few things I wanna mention here. One is the Discord channel, and Discord is our chat room, and it's amazing. As you can see it here, um, it's very lively and it's very live even when the stream is offline. The second thing I want to mention is, let's close up this one and put this one, is our Reddit. So reddit.com Fullstack Network. Patrick, thank you for the follow. So this one, Fullstack Network. So definitely, go there, and if you have questions and feedback and so on, and definitely follow or sub or tip or whatever you feel you want to do. It's greatly appreciated, and it keeps the stream going. It's like fuel. You know what I'm saying? It's like those things are definitely fuel. So if you enjoyed it, definitely consider following or subbing or tipping. Those are greatly appreciated and definitely act as fuel for this stream. Kensodev, do you think stuff like data structure knowledge is required for front end? Yes, I think it does. I think it's required because oftentimes what you will see is people don't understand the basic functionality of JavaScript. So instead of using map and reduce, they will use loops. And they don't understand the basic, nature of JavaScript as a functional language, and don't understand the basic functionality of what is a map in JavaScript, or what is an array, or what is what are those items. So definitely you need the basic data structure stuff. You definitely don't need to understand a lot, but the basics. My original reason for not pursuing programming was because I didn't think I had good enough math skills for the long term, thinking that if I focus on without dismissing it, I'll get it down in the long term. Dude, I talked about education. I talked about my math skills. I don't think math skills should deter you from pursuing a programming job. Or pursuing your passion to be a programmer. Sec time for us here as well, for me as well. So Stevens, thank you for being here, and thank you all of you for being here. As always, those Q&A sessions are just amazing. I keep being blown away by the level of questions we get here. Well, that's why I'm here. I wish I could tell myself from college that. So thank you all for being here. We are going to be here tomorrow at 8 p.m. Did you have your meeting? Yeah, I had my meeting. It's like a 5-minute phone call. I had my meeting. Thanks for the stream, you two. Had some fun tuning in for the first time. So thank you for being here. And we are going to stream every night this week at 8 p.m. PST. So definitely come and check it out. Thank you for all the people that followed, and thank you for all the people that subscribed. It's incredible to see that. If you haven't, please consider doing so. And we will see you tomorrow.
Bye. Thanks, Avi.